Everyone I ask thinks I should keep growing my hair out and go on looking progressively more and more homeless. So look forward to that. Probably still gonna get a shape up in the spring though. I don't know, what are your thoughts? What hairstyle would make you trust me the most if we were alone in a room together? Anyway, hey everyone, it's been a hot second since we last spoke. It was a long year with lots of hours of overtime on my end, so I thought I'd take a little breather and collect myself in anticipation of the final results of the elections. Even though I think at this point Biden has been announced the winner of the presidential election like 7 times, even before the votes are ratified on the 6th. But now that's through and the runoffs are done, so here I am. This one's just gonna mostly be off the cuff since I thought I should at least show my face and let you know I'm still here. I know so many of you out there are just fiending for that bump of dopamine you receive after seeing the quality amateur's content this channel promises after all. I even got my handy dandy notebook with topics listed out by my manager Carnex so I don't get too off track. Still, apologies if I come off a little rambly in this one. But yeah, some pretty interesting stuff happened the last couple of months. I don't know if you heard. The last video I made, for instance, was met with some pretty mixed reactions, not that I didn't expect it. But it did eke out to being more well-liked than not, so there's that. Honestly, if even just a single other person watched and liked my stuff, I'd still be about it. These videos are mostly for me to begin with, but I'm a crowd pleaser. So don't confuse that with me being wholly unreceptive to your criticism or presence. I meant it when I said I read all of your responses, even the dumb ones. Even that one creepy manifesto by a guy named Arian, which was posted twice and edited multiple times and then deleted.
The time is changing. The Democratic Party, like the Republican Party, are the most common ways that in terms of foreign policy. Democrats, particularly with regard to Palestine, health policy, tax policy, the Democratic Party, etc.
Part of the reason why I'm even making this video to begin with is because a fine gentleman said I would die otherwise. I am not certain whether or not this is through supernatural means, but I'm not going to test it, so here we are. Their name escapes me at the moment, but I'm sure my editing monkey, which is just me from the future, will put it up on screen somewhere to let them know the contract is complete. Will any of this actually help me grow and improve? Who knows? But I'm sure feeding me nothing but praise will help the chances and won't cause my videos to go stale, assuming they haven't already. I did know, however, that while recording and after editing my last video that I was and was probably going to stay emotionally charged about everything that's been going on here in the country of apple pie and baseball. Honestly, I still am. I'm just more adjusted now. Like many others, I had and still do have a lot at stake after all with how things are going. So I had to distance myself a bit from making videos, else I was afraid my channel would end up being one of those that just radiate nothing but negative energy and bring the mood down. Which, as we know, potentially has the chance of devolving into fear-mongering or escalating things further. And the last thing I would want to do is misdirect my feelings or have a heated gamer moment while I can use that energy more productively. Wait, is heated gamer moment exclusively a racist thing? I don't know why I'm asking you. You can't respond. Whatever, let me know in the comments. Generally, I think there should be a lot of care taken to not completely turn delicate matters into entertainment and desensitizing people to it, while keeping in mind that being too emotionally invested may also impair your judgment. And I knew that this was something I wouldn't be able to balance convincingly without compromising the standards I normally hold myself to or potentially my messaging, so I thought it best to just step back a little while. I figured I didn't really need to announce it though, since I think it's honestly kind of egotistical for someone in my shoes to think they're important enough for people to even care to begin with. Like if I faded into obscurity, I don't think anyone would be crying about it wondering, oh no, what happened to famous under 6K subscribers YouTuber Vandun? I heard he died in Vietnam Part 2, smothered to death by some big juicy thighs belonging to an incredibly tall, muscular woman. I'm not actually sure when that would happen in a war, whether it's before or after the drone striking, but it certainly sounds like a cause worth fighting for. But yeah, you guys are presumably used to content droughts by now on my part, and I'm not self-centered enough to think this is the only channel you watch it, at least I hope not. So, unless I start playing Smash or Minecraft or something, you probably don't have anything to worry about if I disappear. Also if I die, not because that's sad, but because then the channel just goes to Tony, who will then probably end up doing a channel ban speedrun, or only do mukbang related content. With that settled though, I think it's about time to do my absolute favorite thing, which is give half my audience extreme whiplash by abruptly switching subject and tone. Not that this video really had an established one, but you know. That's right, we're gonna talk about internet drama, yeah! It's like the opposite of the last video. Okay, let's see what we got here. A Minecraft streamer cheated to get 5th place in speedruns, then had his records removed when they concluded it was all but certain he cheated. Alright, it's a big deal, I guess. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I miss out on a lot of stuff just because I don't play Minecraft or Smash, and they very clearly have a massive audience. In other news, some incredibly convoluted relationship drama is surrounding the streamer Destiny. Again, at least it happened after the canvassing in Georgia, I suppose. I genuinely cannot wrap my head around any of this. The rest of the notebook is just filled with notes on this, by the way. And it appears nonsensical and void of consequence unless you know like 10 different streamers that range from 100 to 15,000 average concurrent viewers. Something about time travel and mind control. Am I reading that right? I got all this information secondhand, okay? Just like you, don't pretend. Why else are you still here? I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not spending a collective 7+ hours trying to deconstruct the apparent SMT extended multiverse of internet relationship drama over people and events that aren't particularly compelling to me. And I'm definitely not going to try and piece things together through schizophrenic, contextless, minute-long clips published by people fighting over whatever scraps of attention they can get their hands on. I don't know. I really have no idea how dramatubers, is that what you call them, dramatubers? It doesn't really roll off the tongue that well. Yeah, I don't get how they keep up with this stuff. I guess it helps if those involved are your peers, or you feel morally obligated to put eyes on what you consider misconduct, or even just because you're incentivized to know because it's your job. Still, unless you were already involved or interested prior, it just seems like a lot of work, and you run a higher risk of losing more in terms of dignity and goodwill than you stand to gain monetarily. Of course, I guess you could also just be one of the many out there who don't care about reputation or the truth of matters, and further contribute to a drama ecosystem through which you will absolutely profit from. This isn't a vague hint at anyone in particular either. I genuinely mean it when I say there's an absurd number of these types of creators, and when one of them is canceled, 2 more just come in to fill their place. And I'm being informed by my manager that I'm rambling, and to wrap it up. So I guess the short of it is, unless some sort of abuse of people or information is involved, I really don't know if I have the energy to invest in stuff like this right now. Hey, it's me from a couple days later. I changed my lighting and shaved so you wouldn't get confused, but thanks to my drama information network, which is also just my manager Carnex, it's come to my attention that there actually is an alleged abuse of power involved in all this. I can take this assessment in good faith because he actually did, to my astonishment, watch through and cross-reference what I believe was roughly 12+ hours of collective footage and 80 pages of manifestos. I still don't personally know much about everyone involved, but from what I've gathered on the bullet points, it's not looking good for the accused streamer, and Carnex has asked me to add this in so I don't look like I'm downplaying how serious this all actually is.
No, you don't get it. You stupid motherfucker. You're so dumb. You're so fucking dumb. All right, so it all started with League of Legends.
All right, damage control done. Back to the guy a day dumber and with less context. Maybe I'm just getting old, who knows. To that end though, this was all just an excuse for me to talk more about my last video and that thing that happened in DC on the 6th. But if you're not about that or don't like how I framed the last couple of topics to get here, then I get it, no hard feelings. I won't magically appear behind you in the middle of the night to recommend you finish the video after a Grubhub commercial. So if you don't care or already know you'll disagree with what I'll be saying, here's your chance to leave. No timestamp, it's likely going to be the rest of the video. Right, see ya. So let me start by saying it was a kind gesture for so many of you to have immediately vocalized your excitement to vote entirely Republican in the comment section of my last video, completely missing the point, only to get obliterated in the election cycle, losing the presidency, House, and Senate, then also being thrown under the bus by the very person you supported. It's really a historic loss. But this also sets the stage for how effective Democrats are at moving forward, since they no longer have an easy out in the form of pitting things on an entire party. Can't wait to see all the infighting front and center. But hopefully we'll at least be back to business with criticizing our newly elected officials, only this time with more appropriate expectations. I'm not gonna linger on this for too long, I promise. I just wanted to point out how funny I thought it was that in a video telling people to vote, so many thought I'd get upset over them voting. That there are people who would feel threatened by the idea of others voting or making decisions based on observable evidence is inadvertently hilarious. Or another possibility, that they would presume a message directed towards apathetic smooth brains that have no morals or ideals to stand for, maybe directed them as well, is equally hilarious. So let me be as clear as possible, because it's become a somewhat recurring issue that either my choice of phrasing could use work or that a lot of you out there just need more careful wording. I wanted you to vote, no matter who it was for. Of course, I'll endorse particular stances and selections. I have my own preferences and beliefs, which I make no attempt to hide, and I'm sure you have your own. What's important is making sure they mean something by putting even the most bare minimum of action behind them. This extends to even when Biden is in office proper. Politics don't just end on the 20th. However, just as you may have a distaste for the things I stand for and may criticize them, something I invite, I can do the same to you if your ideas are open to such. And they are sometimes very open. I am so tired of worrying about the well-being of the people I care for, whether it be for their health or living conditions, and mourning for those who have passed. All because an alarming number of people have shown they just do not care. I really hoped everyone would collectively get our shit together by now. At least enough so that we could move past embarrassing ourselves and finally move towards cleaning up the mess that's been made. So you can imagine how seeing within spitting distance of my home a demonstration that literally and figuratively trampled on our norms and democratic process was soul-crushing to me. I have lived in the DMV my entire life. I'm used to seeing the monuments, buildings, museums, and streets of DC. I never would have expected to see people who call themselves patriots storm the Capitol building while being in possession of restraints and pipe bombs, setting up gallows, smearing feces, waving the Confederate flag, and even replacing Old Glory with a Trump flag. And instead of the lawmakers they presumably sought to harm, they only ended up dealing such to themselves and police officers, for whom many of them were supposedly in support of. There is, and may well be, even more blood on the hands of every elected official and pundit that galvanized a group to disregard their safety and the safety of those around them, to overturn or dismantle entirely the results of a fair election, just because it did not yield the results they wanted. The loss of life and injury sustained here in our nation's capital is unacceptable. And it looks like there might be a second round on Inauguration Day. But the results of the election stand despite it all, so congrats if you voted. If it was for Biden, Trump, or even Kanye, less happy about that last one, but you still did what over, I believe, 30% of viable voters either didn't or couldn't. Maybe said that in the case of voting third party, you just actively threw away a vote instead, which is arguably worse, but I'm sure you felt strongly about it at least. Plus, it's still nowhere near as bad as what you could have knowingly participated in. God, can you imagine if any of those dudes at the Capitol building thought that was an appropriate reaction but also didn't vote? I'm not really sure what else there is for me to say here. I'm not super used to just turning on the camera and going, I don't know. Yeah, don't kill yourself for others over dumb stuff. I'll see you guys next time. All right, so I don't know if you could tell, I don't really know what I'm doing in terms of taking care of my hair. So if you got any like tips and tricks, please let me know. Send me a message or something. Yeah, thanks. All right, see ya. For real this time.